Hi, it's Lisa Cuneo and welcome to my scrapbook table. Today's layout is of some photographs I have from an afternoon we spent in Bermuda this summer. I have that photo of my husband and me, and then I have 5 other photos of these caves. I end up only using 4 of them, but that's what I have to start with. I have this cut file from Janet and MK's 31 Days of Cut Files, and I'm also using a sketch from the Scrap Room. It's their September 23 Jumpstart sketch, and I use that for the left-hand page of my layout. Here I am inking the cut file. I did the leaves in evergreen bough and speckled egg, and now I'm deciding, do I want to go with browns or grays? And I end up mixing the two to create the color that works really well with the background paper. The colorful print on this page, which you can see a little bit of there on the left of the screen right now, that is from Elizabeth Craft Designs. And here when I'm inking, I start out with the round sponge dauber type thing, but that ends up just being, the cut file's too delicate, and that I was afraid I was going to tear it. So I end up using these smaller sponge things that are kind of like a paintbrush, and that worked out much better. To get the color that I wanted, I used Distress Pumice Stone and Stampin' Up's Tip Top Taupe, and mixing the two of those, I created a color that looks really nice with the background paper. I don't know where the background paper came from. It's a textured, looks kind of like an old world textured tile. It's a brown tan on the front and a cream color on the back. I cut some of it off and added the strips there to create a 12 by 12 piece, and I'm spattering it with Picket Fence Distress paint that I just watered down a little bit on a block here. I wanted to add a little bit of speckle to this, and I decided to do it before I'd finished the layout instead of at the end and trying to cover up my photos and things. So I'm adding the cut file. Rather than backing each piece individually, I decided to just mat this entire cut file on this cream colored paper, and it's actually the reverse of the background paper that I have here. And it looks like the N is a little low. I should have pushed that up a little bit, but I didn't notice it till I was editing the video. So it's on there, and it is what it is. I'm gonna fill in the small pieces for the R and the A and the 2 dots for the eyes in the word discovering. Actually, I had lost one of them and then was happy to find it. And there's the whole thing. I do end up cutting off a little bit of the white, so there's a little less white, and at this point I'm not sure if it's going to go on the left page or the right, but it ends up on the right hand page. So here's the layout from the sketch that I'm using. I also took some inspiration from Scraptember 2023 for the 7th of September. The inspiration is a long title. And while it's not long in the number of words, it's long in that it takes up a lot of space on here. Discovering nature. And here I'm thinking about where to put it, and I realize it's going to have to go on the other page. And that's okay. So now I'm choosing how to mat the photo of the two of us. We asked another couple who was on the cave tour to just snap our picture. Do you do that when you travel too? That's the only way, unless we have a selfie stick with us, which I don't think we were allowed to pull that out in the cave because you might damage some of the formations in there. So we just asked someone to take our picture with it for us. And here I'm deciding I need 2 pieces of paper that are going to go behind the photo. I decide on this script, which I'm pretty sure is from Hobby Lobby. I don't know that you can even read the script. It just looks like an old fancy handwriting, which I like. And I think for a while that I'm going to also use the polka dots that you see on the right of your screen, but they just read a little too, they weren't quite the right color, and you probably can't tell that on screen, but they just didn't work. So I found a chevron pattern that I thought was a better fit. And so this one goes behind the photo, then the chevron piece is going to go behind the photo as well. And here's where I'm thinking, no, that one's just not going to work. So here's what I end up with. I did ink the edges of those. And I take effort there to get them straight, but that's really a moot point because I end up pulling them off in a moment after I realize that I want to add some wood veneer, and so I need to pop those up on fun foam in order to make room for the wood veneer behind them. So that ends up pulled up in a little while. So here I get my wood veneer bin out and I start going through it. I don't make you watch all of that, but here's what I've chosen. And I used some film strip pieces, and then I have this solid wooden piece. It's about the size of a business card, and it has some arrows on it, so it looks travel-ish to me, and I've been wanting to use it. I've had it for a long time. And now I've decided I want some words in die cut form on this page too, near the photo of us. So I remembered I have these dies I recently bought from Echo Park, and I haven't used all of them yet. So I wanted to use one today, and I went through them, and this is a set of 5 dies, and I decided to go with the word beautiful, which I hadn't even taken it apart from the one that it's attached to yet. There we go, and I cut that out of a blue that matches a bluish green, and that will end up near the photo of us. And I chose beautiful because it kind of serves a few purposes. Yes, it was a beautiful day, but this was a beautiful time for us, and the caves were beautiful, so the word beautiful fits in several different ways here. Now I'm using my favorite rub-ons from 49 and Market, and you can see the word beautiful that I've added there at the bottom. And so the left-hand page is done, other than I do end up writing Crystal Caves and the location, which is Hamilton Parish, Bermuda, on that wooden piece that you see near the top of the layout. So now I'm thinking about which photos I have room for over here and how I'm going to arrange them with the big title and how I'm going to mat them. And I end up with 2 toward the bottom. I do like that arrangement, but it doesn't leave me room for this third photo. There's where I realized that the photo I had laying on the left page was upside down. Also here I decide I have these 2 strips of the cream colored background that's behind Discovering Nature, and I really wanted to use that for the mat of this photo to bring a little bit of that paper to the left-hand page. So I decided to just create a mat by gluing strips behind it. It's not perfect, but that's okay. I don't think anybody will really pay attention or look that closely to see that there's a little bit of a seam where the strips meet. So I guess the left-hand page wasn't really done, but it will be in a moment. And I like how that brings some of the white from Discovering Nature to the other side. I do ink the edges with pumice stone. For some reason, I don't have pumice stone in Distress Oxide, just in Distress, but that works fine. It doesn't matter. I just love that Elizabeth Craft Designs paper that this photo is going to go on. The colors are perfect for these cave photos. The color of the lake in those caves, just stunning. Making sure that's relatively straight. There we go. Now I can get back to the right-hand page. And I end up putting one photo at the top, the title in the center, and 2 photos toward the bottom. I matted them in the same bluish green cardstock that's behind the photo of the 2 of us on the left. I'm adding some of those same rub-ons here on this side, though they don't have the dark blue, which I wish I had done that now that I'm looking at it again. I wish I had done one rub-on on the right-hand page that was the darker blue instead of just these lighter ones. You see them more in real life than you do on screen here. In a moment, you'll see that I turned the camera off and did my journaling about these caves. The caves were amazing. It was a bit of a task to get there. It took way longer than it should have simply because of the ferry schedules and the bus schedules. It was like a 6.5-hour excursion by the time we were done. But that's what we get for planning it ourselves. And that's okay. We did get to see some beautiful parts of Bermuda. So here you can see the journaling, the word beautiful. There we go. You can see the rub-ons there. And the still shots are coming up. I'm really pleased with how this layout turned out. It took me a long time, way longer than most of my layouts do, but that's okay because I really like the end result. Still shots are here. Thanks for joining me today. Goodbye.